Welcome everyone to the Lean Into Succeed podcast. I'm your host, Sally Lean, and I'm thrilled to be inviting some incredible guests to join us and share about their teenage journeys to succeeding in what they're doing, and some who may have struggled during their teens and have had to find their own way to succeed. And notice that I haven't said their journey to success, because we often think of success as some sort of end point, a destination, when in reality it's like a mountain with no top, and we have to keep on climbing. The top always moves further away the higher we get, especially if we're keeping on resetting our dreams to go after bigger dreams along the way. And so I really like to use the verb to succeed rather than the noun of success. And as always, we need to be thinking about how we can keep leaning into what works and leaning out from distractions and the things that don't work, and leaning on our mentors, friends, and family, and great role models along the way. And today, I'm thrilled to be speaking with Keane Marsh. Keane works as a digital marketing specialist and has worked with some of the largest personal and business development brands, assisting them with growth strategies to take their business to the next level. He's passionate about marketing, growth, and creating lasting change in individuals through personal development. And his journey certainly is a testament to that. So let's welcome Keane to the stage.
Hey, Sally.
Hi, thank you for joining us today. It's so great to have you on.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here for your second podcast.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much. And I just was thinking about, it's not actually that long, maybe 3-4 months since we actually first met in a very small and personal mastermind with Dr. John Demartini. So how amazing, when you get to meet incredible people as we're doing things along the way. But before we get into anything further, would you like to tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up and all those sorts of things, just so we have a sense of who you are and how you've come to be here today?
Yeah, perfect. Well, I really like what you said in the beginning. Like, growth is just it's not a linear journey. There's all sorts of ups and downs, and sometimes we'll sort of feel like we're different, like on a different track to where we thought we'd be. But my journey to personal development in particular started, would have been in 2015 when my mum passed away quite suddenly in a car accident. And so I was in such a deep level of grief and trying to find my way out of that, and trying everything I could in order to heal from that. And then that's when I first got introduced to Dr. Demartini's work. I got introduced to John's work while I was studying event management. Obviously, being quite a stressful industry, they were trying to introduce us to people who would help in regulating stress and meditation. And it was just so happened to be that it was one of John's facilitators that I met during that time. And that's what led me on the initial path of personal development. So I thought I'd be going down a path of organizing corporate events and everything, and it just really just sort of unfold from there. That the more work I did on myself, the more that I sort of saw that there was to do, but also the more change I felt within myself, and the more different people that I was starting to meet on that journey.
Yeah. Yeah. I was so sorry to hear, that you did lose your mum quite early. How old were you when she passed away?
It was just turned 19.
Yeah, and it's just such a pivotal age in our lives, isn't it? And I understand that your mum was quite a strong role model for you and support in your younger years as you were trying to develop your sense of belonging. And would you like to tell us a little bit and share a little bit about the struggles that you had? Because I know that, teenagehood and even earlier childhood was not that easy for you for a number of reasons.
Yeah, so all throughout school, I definitely during primary school, I was labeled as dyslexic. I found it quite hard to learn. I was definitely felt behind at school, and as much as my mother could, she kind of helped to make me not feel different through having to go through different classes at school and feeling like when you're young, I always feel that you just wanting to fit in, just doing anything to fit in and just want to fit in, even if you do need some additional help. So my mum was obviously always there to support me through that, and she was always guiding me through. And when I originally said I wanted to study event management, and then later obviously found I want to go through marketing, she was just always supportive of whatever I wanted to do. But it was definitely a very interesting age, and challenging couple of years after she passed away. It was right after I finished school, was looking at pretty much had my whole life ahead of me, and so to obviously have her taken away at that sort of pivotal point was obviously quite challenging, but also really put me on a path of personal development and self-development, because I just knew that there has to be some answers and some tools out there to not only get through that, but to thrive in life. And I think it was a huge passing for me. It was a huge catalyst for me to really push forward that, because I know that she still had goals and aspirations and things that she wanted to do in her life, but was cut short. So in seeing that was cut short, that also pushed
it's
me.
Always, no matter when we lose the people that we love, it's always hard, right? I lost my mum, I think 6.5 years ago. And I was so fortunate that she had been diagnosed with cancer, and we had the time to, to speak about things. And, we'd been on a journey together. I would always share my personal development journey with her, as whenever I took courses and did things, and had some insights or some breakthrough. The first person, and it still happens today, the first person that I would call, and still to this day, the first person I'd want to call if I could, if only there was a hotline to heaven to share with would be my mum, right? So bless our mums. And you just made me think of that story of, I think it was Einstein, Albert Einstein, who basically got kicked out of school, primary school even, and he came home with a note one day and gave it to his mother, and she opened it and looked at it, and he said, "What does it say?" And she said, "It says that you're too smart. The teachers can't teach you because you're just too smart to be learning at that school in those classes." And so, and apparently, so the story goes, years later, after his mother passed away, he found that note, and what it actually said was that he was too naughty or too whatever to be in the class, and his mother had just completely changed the words, and he lived into that, that sort of the words that his mother spoke from that letter of being so smart, and and it was never then a limiting belief that held him back. She recreated it. I mean, what an incredible thing to be able to do. And I think all our mums always want to do the best for us and encourage us and see us win and succeed, right? So what's the saying? If you want to get your parents, go have a crappy life. But if you really want to, make your parents happy and fulfilled, then go have a great life. So I sort of love that saying.
I love
too.
That. And my mom did a very similar thing to me. She was always just convincing me that it was almost like a torch, like that a light was just shining really brightly in a different area of my life. And she was trying to get me to see the areas that I was stronger at compared to other people. And I later found that, well, definitely Kerwin that I worked for spoke about that. It was just having the unique ability to see things in different ways and do things that other people wouldn't, because I didn't have that perspective. And so being able to fully sort of embody that and see how I was able to see things differently to other people, was a gift.
Brilliant. Yeah. Yes. So, so tell us a little bit. I mean, the impact of grief set you on a journey to learn, more about yourself and how to deal with grief and who you are in the world. And you've done some really interesting things, in terms of your work, but also your own and study and development. So, ex-teacher me was really interested to hear you sharing previously about, for example, perhaps finding ways to learn things faster than going and doing a traditional university degree or those sorts of things. So share a little bit about sort of the arc of the journey that you've been on.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I was showing about the event management course that was very specifically created by people that had relevant experience in the industry. It wasn't learning directly from a textbook. Like, whilst that was part of that, all of these people had done exactly what they were teaching. And then for further areas of marketing, I could have gone and done like further sort of bachelor's in marketing or things like that. And I looked into that, but then I saw quite often how a lot of the work was outdated. So I've gone and found like 1 or 2 day courses in very specific areas that I want to upskill in, or finding training that's directly for that particular niche in terms of in the coaching industry. So being able to find hyper relevant information, and I do find obviously that I do learn through doing, through not just through kind of having an overview of a practical nature, but through actually implementing it. So
Amazing.
I think in general, a lot of people as well would be finding that they have to look for different ways to learn, whether they have a learning condition or label or anything like that. In general, there's just so many different ways that we can learn these days.
Yes. Absolutely. And that sort of new, I guess it's probably not that new, but the way that a lot of people are thinking about nowadays is that the immersion style, right? So really just throw you like right into things for a couple of days where you're actually not just listening to someone talk and a bunch of theory, but you're actually doing as well. So that new style of immersion learning, which is, really very effective, which is why, now it's kind of taken off. So when you do, coaches out there talk about having 2 and 3 day boot camps and things like that, where everybody's immersed into the work themselves for a couple of days, and then learning those skills, practicing the skills, not just reading something off a page. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Fantastic. And you went to a really experiential type of school yourself, right, when you were younger?
I did. I believe it was Montessori, or they took elements from Montessori learning, which in some aspects I can see how it can create like really strong and empowered people. I know I've heard of different entrepreneurs as well that's how they were raised, because there was no set homework. You had to do basically you would go in and do all of the homework within the classroom. The classroom was set up so you would have like one section of the classroom for, say, science, and there'd be a few different things you'd have to do there, or whether it was for writing, there'd be a particular theme and you'd go and sit in that area and there'd be notes on what you'd have to do. So yeah, if it's definitely, I wouldn't say it's for everyone. Some people sort of need more structure and need to be told exactly what to do when. But for people that are sort of want more creative control and be able to manage their own energy and do the certain things when they are able to, it definitely is it is a fit. For me, it was definitely good, but it was, I think, on the challenging side from the perspective that it was quite a small school. So there's about 100 people in the entire school, and so developing friendships and things like that. Like, you are very close with everyone that's around you, but obviously, like, to further grow, you need to be able to network and communicate with other people. So that was something that came after I finished year 10. But yeah, it was definitely a very interesting school.
Right.
Yeah, out of it though, I'm sure.
Yeah, so small school, I mean, that has, a lot of advantages, doesn't it, in having that smaller environment, very close knit in many ways, right? However, you were mentioning that you had that sort of some struggles with belonging. Did you want to just share a little bit more about that? Just, I know you mentioned it briefly, but wearing your colored glasses for the dyslexia and that sort of thing. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so it was probably sort of similar, that my parents would have been getting certain reports or certain things that I wasn't exactly at the year level that I should have been. And so because it was a smaller school, they didn't really have any, I guess, internal resources for helping kids like that. So probably even from that age, I had to go and find, or my parents on my behalf would have found, external sort of ways of getting that support. So whilst I would have been getting the support that I needed, I was taken out of school to go and see different child psychologists and different specialists, which, even though, I mean, a lot of kids would probably want time out of school, I just wanted to fit in. I think for majority of my time in school, I just wanted to fit in. And then I was given a sheet of paper, and they would sort of time how quickly I'd read it and the accuracy around that. And then I remember they put a blue overlay on the piece of paper, and I was just able to read the whole thing without like
Wow.
screwing up any of the words. It was almost like I was trying to like read in the dark, and then all of a sudden like a light turned on. It was
Flick the switch, right?
It was just yeah. Like I remember my dad being super surprised and wow, okay, that worked. I think that was definitely a part of it, and there was some sort of other tools I had to learn. So yeah, as a result of that, I had to wear these reflection now. They sort of look like some of Elton John's glasses, sort of blue overlay glasses. But obviously that's different. I mean, even in probably a school of 500 people, there might not be someone that, not to say that there wouldn't be someone that suffers from dyslexia in there, but it just might not, the parents might not have picked it up. They might not have been showing that. But yeah, I was also obviously having to read those, and I would sort of sometimes not wear them to fit in, but then I could sort of see, well, it's taking me even longer to read, to do any of the things that we were doing at school. So
yeah. So in terms of, well, like, first of all, I'm so glad that you found, that particular tool of the colored glasses that helped you to be able to read. What other things have you found, that you've leaned into in terms of, as you've gotten older, what works for you in terms of now, networking, connecting with people, making friends? What are some of the things that you notice now that are different, or perhaps that you wish you'd learned earlier?
Definitely getting aligned with my highest values and purpose, and finding other people who have similar values to myself. In that way, the conversations just flow as well. So one of my highest values is growth and learning, and personal development. So putting myself in environments such as how we met at a small private mastermind, everyone's looking to better themselves, everyone's sort of on the same wavelength. So it's almost like a group of people that have very similar values to yourself. And I find like the more I sort of dive in that, the more opportunities and different things just flow. So you can sort of find your tribe in different areas, because there's different parts of me that I guess might be different to the norm. Like there's certain sort of interests and things like that not everyone has, but there's groups of people out there that have that. So building connections in different pockets of people that are more like you, whether and definitely have the same values, can be incredible. Like I've been to a retreat in Bali, and a lot of people there were going through very similar situations. A lot of them had also lost parents as well, so they knew exactly what that was like. And a lot of them were trying to grow in different areas of their life. And yes, that'd be probably one of the biggest things I'd say for people to lean into, it is finding different groups or different ways that you can get around like-minded people.
Yes,
because it's
love that.
Create that sense of belonging.
Yeah, beautiful. I love also that you mentioned values, right? So it's really important that we know and be clear about what are our own values, such that we can then meet those like-minded people who have similar values and make those connections more easily. And it is a whole other environment when you're with people who have similar values to you, and it makes for fascinating conversation, because you're not, as worried perhaps about how you're speaking, because you're all coming from a similar values base, which is fantastic. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. What about things that you've leaned out from along the way? What have you had to maybe do less of, or be conscious about improving, or what is it that you've leaned out from along the way?
Yeah, I think that's a super important one, to look at what's not serving you in your life. I mean, definitely over the years, there's certain friendships that I would have said I leaned out of that were just not aligned. Like, and it's sort of no direct reflection on them. There's just certain times in your life where it's just no longer aligned. So definitely the 5 people that you surround yourself with typically can really show you what your future looks like. So you want to make sure that the people that you surround yourself are really aligned with the energy and where you want to go in life. So yeah, there's definitely friendships and things like that sort of leaned out of, which can be challenging. It can definitely be tricky to let go of friendships that you might have had for a long period of time, or people that were around you during significant moments in your life. But yeah, leaning out of that and leaning out of other people's expectations or what people might think of you as well. Even complete strangers, I think often, in childhood are probably more, conditioned to worry about that. And when you can just be yourself, that's how you can, lean out of worrying about other people's opinions.
And do you think it takes sometimes a little bit of age and experience to know, when to lean out and also to, like you said, sort of let go of other people's expectations and particularly opinions, right? I love that saying, like, your opinion of me is none of my business. Right? It's like, opinions don't matter to anyone but you, actually. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So in terms of that, age, I know that you're still young in many ways compared to the rest of us who are a little bit ahead in the game. But you are, like, are you finding that you're getting wiser as you get older, or is that an experience that
like I'm finding things are bothering me less, and often if someone has a very strong reaction to something or something you've said or something, I found more times than not it's a reflection of their own wounds as well, or any I guess if I look back, if there was any, I guess, say, bullying at school or different things that had happened in the past, it wasn't actually anything to do with me. So I think really realizing that things are not an attack. I think I was always told that I was so sensitive at different times when I was growing up, and it was definitely caring about other people's opinions too much, rather than seeing it for what it is. So I found as I'm able to sort of take a step back from things a bit more, and I'm able to sort of see that, see it for what it really is.
And do you find that it helps you, the more grounded you are in who you are for yourself, that it's easier to let go of those other things, right? Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
And I know that you worked with, the late and amazingly great Kerwin Rae, and you've worked with a number of other coaches over time. How have you found that coaching has helped you?
Yeah, coaching has been massive for me. The first coach that I work with during like a timeline therapy session, I got to sort of see the moment where and when I felt not enough from the dyslexia, from being taken out of school specifically around that. I was able to go right directly to that moment and clear that and sort of zoom out from it. And that was huge for me. And I think there's been different coaches that have impacted me in different ways over time. Kerwin was definitely, his approach to it was definitely, quite remarkable, and really helped me because he as well went through some of the same sort of struggles in terms of learning disabilities and a few different things that happened in his life. So as well, when you're able to get either guidance directly from working with a coach or sort of at least seeing someone sort of out there online that's gone through a very similar thing, it at least makes you feel not alone with it. So that's definitely one of, I think, another thing to lean into is looking for someone that's gone through something that you might be currently facing, and maybe even trying to look at how they sort of overcome that, or at least just removing sort of the shame and the fear and the guilt around that, and seeing that it's okay. A lot of these people are living quite amazing lives now, and
and that's one of the things you talk about in coaching, right? Is the velocity. You can get to where you want to get to faster, rather than meandering along trying to find your own way, right? And I felt like for me, my 20s were meandering along trying to find my way in life and figure out, although on the surface of things I had a pretty successful career. I was already in an international career leadership role, before I was 30. So, if you looked on the surface of things, you wouldn't have known. But I felt like I was kind of meandering my way, trying to figure out who I was and what I wanted and how I was going to get it and all those sort of things. So, yeah, the speed, right? The speed and velocity of getting to where you want to go faster rather than just trying to do it yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, and once you know your values, that can help you get there a lot faster because you're able to look at every decision and action that you're looking at doing, whether that's aligned with your values. When I got the opportunity to work with Kerwin, I was was pretty much felt grounded in what I was doing, and I was like, do I want to move again? Do I want to change all of this? But then I had to run it through that lens. Is this going to help me get to where I want to be? Is this aligned? And then when you know your values, it's a lot easier. And I think the younger people are able to get super clear on that and use that to help them. The faster things will unfold.
You can sort faster, right? Yes, no, yes, no. Yeah, amazing. That's great. So, in terms of who or what it is that you lean on now and moving forward, who do you have that you lean on, that you work with, that how are you helping yourself to move forward, basically?
Yeah, I've got a great group of friends. I think at certain points it was more around having a quantity of people rather than a quality. But through, as I was saying, the retreats and things like that I've gone through in Bali, I've really found some amazing friends there who absolutely support one another and we're able to get each other to see things through different perspectives. And I've also got a couple of friends that I've known since I was like 2 years old, really. So people that have known you your whole life is really amazing. And I feel blessed. Like a lot of people lose sort of contact or like don't really have much to do with people that were there through sort of pivotal moments. I'm lucky to still have people through there. And then as well, I've got a coach I can check into that sort of knowing different parts of things that I've gone through and that I'm able to reach out to as well. So combination of people the coaches are going through very similar or very pretty much things that I am going through, and and friends as well that are super aligned.
Yeah. And so one of the sayings that I love is, and whoever, I think the attribution is questionable, but, the best way to predict the future is to create it. Create it yourself. Don't be sitting around, hoping that things are going to work out and one day you might win the lottery or whatever. You could get out there and really do the things, take the actions. And as you were just pointing out, the importance of the alignment too with your own values, knowing who you are and what works for you, and building your strengths from there, from that base point of values. So is there a saying or something that you would like to share with everyone, or maybe a piece of advice that's been given to you that you work from as well?
Definitely what you said before, that people's opinions of you is none of your business. That's literally a quote that I sent to a friend yesterday. So that's the number one thing that rings through my ears. So it's crazy that you said that. But yeah, and then the theme of this, and everything we've been talking about, that would be it. And also leave people better than how you found them as well.
Oh, I love that.
In any interaction.
Yeah. I remember an international course program leader that I had the privilege of working with when I was in Asia, and he once said to me one day, you need to live in other people's listening of you, right? So because sometimes when we get in our own head or we feel stuck and we get a bit small, we make ourselves small because we're just or gets a bit frightened, run by fear or whatever it is, and living in other people's listening of you. So of course the importance of, as you said before, surrounding ourselves with people who do have that generous listening, and knowing us for our positives, right? Our positive attributes and our strengths, and who are willing to speak that back into us as we go. It's definitely very, very important. Yeah.
Absolutely. And another tool as well is I've used is affirmations and listening to sleep tapes that sort of repeat that, because whilst obviously it's good to have that through other people, constantly re-embedding those beliefs I found through hypnosis, through listening to audios and things like that just keep re-embedding that. So if you can get that from other people, then obviously just keep that flowing in those messages coming in that creating that level of abundance is definitely another tool I found really helpful as well.
Love that as well. I love that. So thank you, thank you so much for your time today, and all these gold drops that you've shared with us, Keane. And if anyone wanted to be able to find you, what's the best perhaps platform to be able to reach out?
On LinkedIn, yeah. So LinkedIn would be great. I'm just getting back onto LinkedIn, being more active on there as well.
Okay, awesome. So look up Keane Marsh, everybody, if you're looking for the content. Don't think there's too many of you on LinkedIn, so that'd be great. You can reach him there. And just thank you for all the amazingness that you've shared with us today. It's been great to meet you and great to have you on.
Thank you, Sally.
Thank you. Everyone, remember what you need. All you need to be doing, that recipe for success, is to lean into the strengths and those attributes that you have, and all of the positives. Lean out from the distractions, lean out from the things that aren't working for you, and all, as always, as we just discussed today, based on your values. And lean on those people, the mentors, the family and friends who will always encourage you and support you at all times. All the best. Thank you.